Hello, and thank you so much for joining Chroma today on our Artist 101 series, where we're going to be talking all about the color wheel, and we are going to be talking all about cool and warm colors, specifically when we come to color mixing and mixing with Chromacryl. Hello, I am Jennifer Von Stein, and I am Chroma's resident artist, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. I am very, very excited to tell you all about color. Color is one of my favorite topics in the whole wide world. Let me just open this up. Boop. And what is so exciting about color is the way that you can manipulate your colors in order to create certain visual effects. Because let's face it, when you are painting is an art form, and it is a way of kind of manipulating people to view a two-dimensional surface as something that's a little bit more than that. Something where there's a foreground and a background and a midground, and how do you get everything to come together and work clearly? Well, that is all what you do with color. And a good knowledge of color can take you so far. I'm going to wait till a few more people pop on. Once again, I will say that my name is Jennifer, and I am Chroma's resident artist. So make sure that you like Chroma, you like my page, so that we can stay connected and you can be informed of some other videos that pop up. I hope that everyone is making time for art and staying safe in these kind of crazy times we're in. And as I usually say, I've kicked everyone off the internet at my house. I am here in my attic studio, so hopefully everything will go as planned. You know, live videos, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I'm going to start to get started, and let's talk about color. Okay, I think if you do a Google search for color theory or color wheel, you will probably get a bazillion results back, because everyone and their mother and their father and their grandparents, brothers, sisters, has their own idea of what color really is and how a color wheel should go. There are some pretty much accepted theories, which are that there are warm colors and that there are cool colors. The primary colors are, of course, yellow, red, and blue, but they do vary in where they lean. Let's face it, nothing is perfect in the world, and there is no such thing as a pure yellow, as a pure red, as a pure blue. In a lab where we are mixing pigments and getting certain effects and getting the perfect color, it's always going to be maybe a little bit more blue, or maybe a little more red, or a little more yellow. And there are some other theories about how light affects colors and how you actually see color, which you are welcome to read about on Wikipedia, which is too scientific for me to get into in a practical approach. But there are definite reasons why these things happen. But what we have found at Chroma, especially when we are talking to students and to artists who are kind of new to this, that the easiest way to keep it is to go with warm colors and cool colors. And our main system that I would recommend for art students as an acrylic is our Chromacryl. It is a medium-bodied student acrylic, and it is just, it's lovely. It's a lovely paint to use, great if you're starting out. One point price point. I'll get that out eventually. So you can really dig deep and have some fun with these colors. They are student grade. Not everything is light fast, so keep that in mind. If you are just starting, if you are painting with a young person, if you're just trying to get some bang for your buck, Chromacryl is a great option. It is a medium-bodied acrylic, and we have designed it so that the colors are cool yellow, cool red, cool blue, warm blue, warm yellow, and warm red. And this will make color mixing so much easier. No longer do you have to think that you are making mud, because we have already set the colors up for you, so that if you want to have some good, clean color mixes, just stay with our cool colors or just stay with the warm colors. If you need to tone things down, you can mix in some earth tones as well, such as our yellow oxide, our raw sienna, our burnt sienna, and even we have a red oxide as well. So let me get started and I will show you what we've got going on. Hopefully I pop back up. It looks like I may have frozen there a little bit. Obviously someone snuck on the internet when they were not supposed to, but I'm sure, as with live videos, I'll pop it right back on. But that's just the one camera. All right, so let me start going with our cool yellow. I am going to put some out here. That is our cool yellow. And cool colors, as you are painting, can generally be thought to that they are going to be the ones that are going to recede. They're the ones that stay more in the background. Now I'm going to give you our warm yellow over here so you can see the difference over here. I'm not quite sure why my feed is showing that my face is not working. This is what can happen with dual camera systems. So I might just move myself over to the side. If I knew how to turn it off, I would, but I don't right now. So I'm going to go with my colors. You can just look at that lovely mug over there. All right, so I've got a cool yellow and I've got a warm yellow over here. And that is really the great way to start. So let's keep going around the color wheel. Now I'm going to put out my cool red. And I'll keep my cools over on this side, and I'll put out my cool blue. If anyone needs any information at all about our colors or what you think would be a good way to have a split primary system, by all means, shoot us an email, make a comment on our feed, and we can definitely get that out to you. So right now I have cool yellow, cool red, and cool blue. And now I've got some warm yellow. Let me put out some warm red over here. Where'd my warm red go? Of course, when I need it, I can't find it. There we go, warm red. And I will put out some warm blue. And I do apologize for the frozen feed. Maybe it's not frozen. It looks like it's frozen on my end. And I certainly will be talking to the children about this. They're going to get a little cheerful earful from mommy when I say get off the internet. I mean, get off the internet. All right, so cool yellow, cool red, cool blue. Warm yellow, warm red, warm blue. Let's mix some colors so you can see what's happening. So here is our cool yellow. And I'm going to mix it with a little bit of our cool blue. And you can see that that's giving you a nice, bright, beautiful kind of springy green. That's something that you're going to want to get. Maybe you're going to want to use this for a lizard. Maybe you're going to want to use this for some cooler of those greens. It's a very, very bright green. And if I want to make it brighter, I can just use some more yellow. Let me clean off my brush here. Now, let's say I wanted to have a warm green and I wanted to have that warm color come forward. I'll take my warm yellow and I've got some of my warm blue. And can you see the difference? It's much more of an earthy green. Almost, it's just a warmer green. I'll put them side by side so you can see. But it's still a crisp, clean green. Ooh, I'm starting to move again. Someone must have downloaded something. All right. So this green is a much warmer green. When would I want to use a warm green? If I want to bring things forward. If I want to just have that right color. Oops, did you hear a bug just run into the light? That's my life working in the attic. And these warm colors are perfect for if you're doing a landscape and you need things to come forward. It's still very, very clean. It's just warmer. Means there's more yellow in it. Now, watch what happens when I mix a warm color and a cool color. My mixes aren't going to be as clean. They're going to be a little bit muddier. So let's say I take a little bit of my warm yellow over here. And now I'm going to take my cool blue. Here we go. Over there, just need a little of the cool blue. The cool blue is very strong. And what happens? Not quite as nice as I'd want. It's not as clean as a mix. You know? So when I look at this, when I look at my warm yellow, my cool blue versus my cool yellow and my cool blue mixture, my warm yellow, my warm blue, you can see the differences that happen when you mix warm and cool colors. And knowing what colors are warm and knowing what colors are cool can be critical when you start to do your own color mixing exercises. And again, if you decide to stick with the paint like Chromacryl, we have made it easy for you because we tell you what colors are warm and what colors are cool. If you're working with one of our more professional lines of paint, our Atelier Interactive, our Free Flow, our A2, our Archival Oils, Josania, just leave a comment in there and with your email address, and I can email you generally where these colors form, where they fall on the warm and the cool side. This is a palette that I tend to stick with. I tend to stick with a split complementary palette, which means I will have warm and cool versions of all of my primaries, along with some of my secondary colors as well. Let me show you what happens with some orange. I'm going to show you all my mixes. Orange and violets. I'm going to add a little bit more warm yellow out there. Okay. Now clean this up. Let's mix an orange. Now think about it. Orange is definitely a warm color, more on the yellow side, more on the red side when you do your color wheel. If I want to make the warmest orange I can, using the warmest, yellows, the warmest reds will get me the best, brightest orange. Let me show you. So I've got some of my warm yellow over here. I'm going to take just a little bit of my warm red. And there you go. Look at this orange. It is just great. It is one of those beautiful, beautiful screaming oranges. I love it. Now, if I take a cool red and a cool yellow, what's my orange going to look like? Let's find out. Clean my brush good. Taking a little bit of my cool yellow and my cool red. Don't need that as much. And what kind of orange am I going to get? It's a nice orange, but it's just not as bright. It doesn't have that's a little too red right now. Add some more yellow so it's not so red. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. It doesn't have that brightness, that punch that you may want in an orange. So sticking with your warmer versions of your reds and your yellows, going to give you the best orange. Now let's talk violet, purple. We call it different things. Violet is the technical and would be the best name for that. The proper name. All right. Think about violet. Violet can fall so many different places. Sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's cool, sometimes you're not quite sure what purple you really want to get. Let's show you what they look like. Let's take a warm blue over here, and I'll take a warm red over here, and let's just mix these together side by side. And you can see that I'm getting a nice violet, but it's definitely a little moody. It's a little bit deeper, it's a little bit darker. Great in a landscape, great as maybe a shadow tone for maybe some foliage or in some rocks or in some mountains that are in the distance. Really a lovely color, but it might not be what you think of when you think purple. Now, if I mix a cool blue and a cool red, what do you think is going to happen? That's right. It's going to be a little bit punchier, a little bit cooler, because generally a violet is considered a cool color. So I'm using your cool blues and your cool reds. That's going to give you the best, in quotes, purple. Let me show you. Now, as I mix, let me go on my color mixing high horse here. You should always be mixing with a painting knife. not with your brushes. Our teachers would not like this at all. But in the real world, we often use our brushes, so know that. Secondly, everyone has their own way of defining color. And just as I said, there are really no absolutes with your primaries. There are no absolutes when it comes to color. You always, 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 always see color in relation to another color. So what might be warm in one situation might actually be cooler in another. Always remember that if you are mixing your colors and if you are putting something down on a painting and the color isn't right, the color actually might be okay. Maybe you need to change the surrounding colors in order to get something to pop or get something to move forward or to recede. Now, look at this violet back over here. Look at the difference between the two. And I'll just kind of water that down there. Much more of a blue violet because we've got these colors that are going on. And I see I froze again, at least on my side. Someone must be downloading something again. I can't wait to talk to them after this. Alrighty, now let's see what happens if I add some white to it, because you might not always want these colors. You might actually want something that's going to be a tint of a color, and that's a good way to see the inherent color bias in one of your primaries. So I just put down some titanium white, and now let's just kind of put this in both of these, and let's just see how it mixes. And look at that, those tints of those colors. You can see that over here, I'm really getting a nice redder tint of my violet. And that is because I was mixing with my warmer purple. But over here on the other side, I have much more of a blue violet. And that is because I am using my cool colors. So as you work with color, the best way to achieve the color mix that you're looking for is to get the hue first. Get the general green, blue, yellow, orange, the red that you're looking for, and then start to tint it, then start to tone it. If something isn't deep enough, you can always add a little bit of black to it too. So let's take out some of my black over here. And you can even do this just with your primaries. If your primaries aren't the same colors you want to have a little bit of a deeper red, a little bit of a deeper blue, a little deeper yellow. Well, maybe not yellow. I'll talk to you about yellow in a second. Here is my cool red. Just a speck of that black. It's going to give me a nice, rich, deeper black. A deeper red. A little bit moodier, a little bit more. I can work with this a little bit more. Now that was a cool. Let's see what happens if I add some of my cool yellow to it to make it more of an orange. Now we're getting into a nice ruddy color. This could be wonderful as a tint if I wanted to maybe try and start to use some of those ruddy colors that can be in skin or some shadows or in some foliage for some florals. Now, these are just some of the colors that I'm just showing you. If these colors are pretty intense, because we're using just the primary colors, you can always alter it a little bit by introducing some of the earth tones. So, let me just move my water dish to the side here and move this over a little bit more so I have some room. And I'm going to use a red oxide over here. And now I'm going to put out some of my yellow oxide as well. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. You're never too late. You can always save this video and rewatch the replay and rewind if you want to. There we go. Oh, do you hear the train? That's where I live. All right, so I've got some red oxide as well as some yellow oxide. Now let's say I decide to use one of these for my primaries. What's going to happen? All right, let's take my yellow oxide, which I have over here, and now let me take a little bit of my warm blue. Oh, look at that green. That is like a perfect muted green. It is wonderful. It instantly reminds me of the fields, of some of these great colors that you can get, in the sea. Definitely a wonderful, wonderful landscape green. And that is using my yellow oxide instead of a warm yellow or cool yellow. Maybe you'd want to try using a yellow ochre for when you mix your greens up. That would be a great idea. Now, let's say I have my red oxide. I'm going to use that as my red that I'm using. Let's take that and let's take a little bit of my my cool blue. What's going to happen with this? Ooh. Now this is giving me this weird kind of shade. It's like this weird kind of like brown, violety color. It's really earthy. Let me take a little bit of white in this so you can kind of really start to see that. Isn't that pretty? It has that cool undertone, that violet undertone, great for a shadow, great for maybe some dirt. Again, think of what you can do with your skin tones and your hair, or just these neutrals being able to help subdue some of these brighter, more intense color. The neutral colors that you put around in your painting that help set all of your other colors off. You really don't want to have a painting that is filled with nothing but bright colors. Kind of hard for me to say because I have a lot of bright colors in my paintings, but I do want to control that with my neutrals of things of some lighter values. And again, knowing what your colors are, where they fall on a cool or warm spectrum will help you achieve some really wonderful mixes and be able to get, what you're looking for in your colors. Let's see what else I can show you here. As many of us are kind of holed up right now, if you have nothing that you're inspired to paint, spend some time and just mix your colors. Take out some new reds, take out some new yellows, take out some of the blues, mix up your secondary colors, mix up your tertiary colors. See what happens when you take a little bit of your a cooler yellow with your cooler red, and you mix up that orange. It's a nice orange, but I want to make it pump up a little bit more. See what happens when I put it next to one of my violets. See how much more it pops out because I'm putting, and using the power of a complementary color. Yellow and violet are complements, next to each other, and see how they pop. Use this time to play with your colors. Really get to know what they are. If you are about to embark on a painting, change it up a little bit. Use a different red. Use a different yellow. And see what happens. See how they sing. If it's a slightly easier painting, if any painting is ever really easy, do 2 versions of it. Go wild, be crazy, and for one set, use a certain set of yellows and blues and reds. Take your notes, and then on the other painting, use a different set. See the difference. The only way that you will really know color, it's just like painting, the only way that you know color is by using it and by trying it and experimenting. Again, the easiest way to think about color temperature is where does it fall? Is my primary more on the yellow side, more on the orange side, more on the red? That's going to be warm. That's going to come forward. Is my primary more on the blues or the greens or even a violet? That's generally going to be considered a cool color. Again, using a paint like, our Chromacryl makes it so easy for you because everything is spelled out. It tells you whether it's a cool red, whether it's a warm red, so that you and your students can have a much easier time when it comes to color mixing and not worry about mixing up muddy colors. If you're using one of our professional lines, like I mentioned, just shoot me an email, leave a comment in our Facebook feed, and I'm more than happy to tell you generally where the colors form, where they fall on that color line, whether they're generally warmer, whether they're cooler, or maybe if they're a little bit more neutral. All right, and that's about it on, Color 101 with color temperature. It all comes down to using it, playing with it, and watching what happens. Am I getting a brighter secondary or a more dull secondary? And then, is that secondary warmer? Then I'm probably using, and it's bright, I'm probably using warm colors. A little bit duller, could be cool colors, or it could be one of those beautiful neutral mixes that happens when you mix your warm and your cool colors. There we go. Easy, isn't it? I wish. Learning about color really is a lifetime. So have some fun, mix up some colors, take some notes, use Chromacryl. It's a great way to start. Use one of our other paints, any questions at all, shoot me an email, shoot us a comment on our Facebook feed. Thank you so much for joining us today here on Chroma. And I am Jennifer Von Stein, Chroma's resident artist like us. And, stay safe, wash your hands, keep painting, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much. And